Hello, and welcome to another edition and serving of Convention Tea. This time around, we'll be talking about San Diego Comic Con 2026. I know it's strange to skip out on AX this year. We normally go to Anime Expo. However, we weren't selected for panels, and we wanted to focus all our efforts this year with San Diego Comic Con 2026. If this is your first time here at the Wisteria Cottage here on my channel, whether it's YouTube or if you're watching live on Twitch, Convention Tea is where we just wrap up our thoughts on conventions we attended, and we just give you a breakdown of what we did, the things we enjoyed, the things we really didn't enjoy, and just some commentary on just some hot topics that were going around the convention as well. Stay for the whole thing, and we asked our team here at Scarlet Rhapsody where would like to move Hall H events. Okay, with that said, if this is your first time tuning in, Scarlet Rhapsody, this is a website that has been running for the past 20 years in terms of covering conventions. I started this whole operation after Anime Expo when it was held at the Disneyland Hotel and Resort. I wanted to make a website just detailing all my convention adventures, posting all my photos, and just talking about the things I liked, the things I didn't like. I've been doing this since 2000, posting photos, talking about cons. I've expanded into podcasting, and now I'm a VTuber, a cottagecore VTuber that talks about convention history. And with that said, you can definitely check out our website information in the description if you want to read some convention reports dating as far back as 2003. Oh my god, the aughts, the 21st century dates are just really getting to me right now. And of course, this whole presentation is done by humans. Remember, we are a anti-AI website, an anti-AI platform here at the Wisteria Cottage. So, yeah, we don't use AI. All right, San Diego Comic Con 2026. I skipped out last year's San Diego Comic Con because my cat had a medical emergency, so I decided to skip out on it. So I decided not to apply for any panels because normally we would get in for panels for San Diego Comic Con. I've been attending San Diego Comic Con kind of on and off. My first Comic Con was 2002, the summer before I went off to college. It was back in the day where you could just walk right up, stand in line, and just get your badge on the day of, and still have plenty of time to explore the dealer's hall and watch Masquerade. I also attended in '07 and '08, back when it was much easier to get a press badge. It was like during the time when San Diego Comic Con was kind of teetering towards mainstream. And if you had like a blog, if you had a website, it was not an issue to get a press badge. And like once the 2010s hit, if you were only if you're like a major news network, you could get a press badge. And with that said, um, I started attending San Diego Comic Con on a regular basis after the pandemic during when they had an event called San Diego Comic Con Special Edition. They needed panels, and I was like, you know what? Let me give this a shot. Let me try like submitting a panel for San Diego Comic Con Special Edition. They probably need the panels right now. And lo and behold, they actually did get me some panels. And that was actually kind of fun. Special edition. It was a smaller scale version of San Diego Comic Con. Not a lot of attendees that year because it was also on Thanksgiving weekend, and we didn't really have any Thanksgiving plans. So what we would do is just like right after Thanksgiving dinner, Black Friday of, just drive up to Comic Con, head over to Mission Valley, check into our hotel, and take the shuttle right into the con. That was a fun event. But 2026, this was a really huge year. A lot of people have are coming back from 2026 with mixed feelings. So if you know a little bit about me, I really don't focus on Hall H stuff because I fear a lot of major news outlets are going to cover what's going on with Hall H. I want to just capture vibes. I just want to capture things I enjoyed, because you can still enjoy San Diego Comic Con without ever setting foot in Hall H. So with that said, let's move on. So, for my purpose, my raison d'etre for this year's Comic Con, I was invited to do a panel called In My Y2K Era Anime Fandom Before Streaming and Social Media with some of the most talented cosplayers I've known these past 20 years. I'm very honored to call my team really good friends. We even competed in Masquerade together at San Diego Comic Con. And a lot of these ladies have a lot to say and a lot of insight to share about conventions and fandom back in the day. And if you are a convention organizer, if you're looking for cosplay guests, cosplay judges, I highly recommend these ladies because they definitely know what they're talking about, and they've contributed so much to the community that they also deserve the spotlight. And I highly recommend them if you're looking for guests of honor, panelists, anything you need to fill up programming, because these are just the most insightful ladies that you'll ever run into at conventions. And also some of the most talented as well. All right, and then I was also scheduled to have a signing with Dewata Comics. Dewata Comics had a booth at San Diego Comic Con, and I actually remembered when I went to their launch of their publication company over at Philippine Expressions Bookstore over in San Pedro. So I've been supporting them since day one, and when I found out that they wanted me to have a signing with them, I was like, yeah, cool. I've been supporting you guys since day one. I'm glad you're supporting me in my journey as an author, especially being a fandom author, having written one of the first books to talk about 90s anime fandom culture, what cosplay conventions were like in the early 2000s, back when glomping, yaoi paddles, and Anime Expo on Disney property was a thing. So these were my two social media posts that I put out there to, like, hey, come meet me. This is where I'll be at. And I also wanted to highlight my cosplays for this year's San Diego Comic Con. I brought four costumes this year. I brought back Sophie from Bridgerton. I love how I took this photo at the Gundam booth because I just needed to just take a reference photo. Like, yeah, I was here as Sophie, and I just ended up choosing the Gundam booth. I know, like, it's canonical to have the gloves or at least one glove on, but because you're running around San Diego Comic Con so much, sometimes you have to say F it and just take the photo. And I just find it funny that I got a photo as Sophie from Bridgerton at the Gundam booth. I love my Sophie cosplay. I got a lot of compliments like, yeah, the silver ingenue, the lady in silver. And this is definitely going to be a one of my go-tos for pop culture events like WonderCon and San Diego Comic Con, because I just love representing Bridgerton. I love representing book fandom to conventions. So, and yeah, it's just a fun costume to wear. I enjoyed Bridgerton fandom, and I'm just hoping to have more opportunities to wear this. The next outfit here, let me tell you what I was confused for. Someone thought I was Tsunade from Naruto, and someone at the Dungeon Crawler Carl meetup thought I was Marianne Dom. I haven't gone as far as Marianne Dom just yet. I'm on the last half hour of the first book. Yeah, I've been listening to the audiobook narrated by Jeff Hayes, and it is amazing. Y'all should listen to it. But here I am, costuming as Taylor Swift from the Evermore era. And for those of you who celebrate happy August 1st, happy Salt Air Day. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to cosplay as Taylor Swift is I kind of got tired of people in the Comic Con Facebook groups just giving Taylor Swift a hard time and just kind of being mean. It was just mostly men just kind of like dogpiling on Taylor Swift. Like, you know what? Just to spite you guys, I'm just gonna have a good time cosplaying as Taylor Swift. And I got a lot of compliments of like, are you cosplaying as Evermore? Like, yeah, I'm cosplaying from Evermore. Evermore is the era where this outfit comes from. She wears it during the tour. I ended up getting a new outfit for Evermore because the one Evermore dress I want is sold out, and like I kind of need this. Miss Candy Holic, Please bring back your pumpkin spice goddess gown because I need that for Evermore because it is the perfect Evermore gown. So I'm just using this Amazon dress I got for $20 just kind of like as a placeholder. But you know what? I got to embody Evermore. I got a lot of compliments. I ended up giving out friendship bracelets and ribbons to anyone who recognized me in Evermore while supplies lasted. So it was really really fun just being able to rep Swifty fandom, and I got to meet like a lot of Swifties while I was at the con. And then on Saturday, I wore my masquerade cosplay. Now, I'm not really familiar with San Diego Comic Con culture when it comes to masquerade. So, with that said, you're supposed to wear your costume. You're supposed to debut your costume at masquerade. You can't wear it on the hall prior to masquerade, so you have to wear it when you show up on stage. So you have to change in the masquerade green room to get into your costume. Luckily, mine was simple enough where I could just put like a cloak or a jacket over it, and then just put the jacket on, put the shoes, put the stockings, and whatnot. So yeah, our group was a Sakizo inspired rendition of Strawberry Shortcake characters. I went as Plum Pudding. Plum Pudding, if you look up their history, they kind of went back and forth. It's like one of those, because I know this was common with 80s toys. Sometimes they debuted as a male, and sometimes they were changed back into being female. So I just kind of want to lean into that gender androgyny with Plum Pudding. And also, it was excuse me to try out making a Princey Uji. I can't word right now this morning outfit. So this was fun to do. And then I decided to remake my first cosplay ever, and that's Utena. Once upon a time, I cosplayed as Utena during my school's homecoming because it had the same school colors. I had Satsunako commission my Utena cosplay, and now I made my own. And I made this, I want to say, about 2 weeks before San Diego Comic Con, as I was also making my masquerade cosplay. And that's actually a which was about to say, that's actually a wig that I had for an older Utena costume. I did the white uniform, but I didn't really like how it turned out. I know I could do better if I ever remake the white uniform version. And thank you, Ryuga, for the affiliate anniversary shout out. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's move on. Okay, what happened here? Yeah, let's just kind of fix this. Did I lock this? What happened to the background? Oh no. We're experiencing some technical difficulties on stream. Just give me one moment here to kind of fix this. Okay, at least I think we're back. Okay, I don't know what happened, but whoops. All right. All right, so let's go over what were some of the popular fandoms at San Diego Comic Con. So, we had Dungeon Crawler Carl. You have this donut cosplayer looking very jellical. Okay, not gonna lie, I thought this person was cosplaying. Um, I thought this person was cosplaying as Idris Elba from the live action Cats. I can't believe I had to say the Cats movie. Oh my god. Anyway, that's another discussion for another time. And I think it was like his partner question mark was cosplaying as Carl. Shout out to that Carl in the programming, not programming, the professional, the pro lounge, because I was having like an autistic meltdown because stuff happened in the morning. Yeah, shout out to your friend Carl there, Mr. Jellicle Cat. And yeah, there was a lot of Princess Donut cosplays and a lot of Carls at the con, and we'll look at the Dungeon Carl meetup photos that I stumbled upon. And then you had like a lot of people, like because of the Masters of the Universe, especially go into different versions of Skeletor, which I found very amusing. You had HR Skeletor, you had Jim Bro Skeletor, and I just thought that was just really cool. And of course, I really feel that K-pop Demon Hunters is not going to go out of style anytime soon. I would have brought Zoe, but the cosplay dealer that I got it from, it was just too small, and I need to make some modifications before I can wear it at conventions. And like, yeah. But yeah, these were like the most popular fandoms that I've ran into and pictures that I had to get because I really like this version of the tiger that was just hanging out in Artist Alley. Surprise fandoms. These are the fandoms that I would not expect to see at San Diego Comic Con. So we got GoldenEye version James Bond. Not GoldenEye. Oh my god, I feel such a tourist. Let me wipe that. Goldfinger James Bond, where it's during the opening sequence, right before you go into that Shirley Bassey tune. So if you remember, like he comes up from the water in a wetsuit, and underneath the wetsuit, he has this tux. So like he was actually amazed that I was able to get that reference because I know it comes to a surprise to people when I say like, "Hi, I have a deep dive knowledge of 007. 007 is like my special interest." I mean, one of my gamer tags is a feline inspector. And then we have Ted Lasso. The new season is coming up on August 5th. I'm actually curious to see where this goes because I felt like season 3 ended things in a nice bow. So let's just kind of see how season 4 rolls out. And then we had someone costing as Alyssa Liu, the figure skater. And I actually do appreciate like people could just cosplaying as their idols because this is just really cool. Yeah, so these were just some surprise fandoms I found. I always like to leave a section of like, oh yeah, I didn't expect that to see that there. And it's funny because Comic Con 2007, I actually went as Wai Lin from Tomorrow Never Dies, Michelle Yeoh's character. I grew up during the Pierce Brosnan era, so Brosnan was like my first Bond, and then I started watching the Sean Connery movies. I'm just happy to see Bond cosplayers. It just gives me sparkle. All right, and before we move forward, just wanted to give a shout out to my idol group, Angel Hearts. Angel Hearts is a Kaigai idol group that has been around since the early 2000s. We specialize in para para and Idol Master dance covers. Do check us out on our YouTube over at Angel Hearts Idols, and you can also follow us on Instagram over at Angel Hearts Idols. We just hit 700 followers on Instagram. Let's keep that number going and see if we can make it to 1,000 by the end of August. Okay, Thursday. I wanted to get more photos of the chaos of getting into the convention center on Thursday. So, for context, I was carrying a small suitcase with me that had my books so I could drop it off over at the booth. And I tried to find where to pick up my badge because I had an industry badge because of the panel that I was running. And a lot of the volunteers didn't really know how to direct people. So you saw like this whole blob of people trying to get in, and it was really hard to see where the entrances were labeled. Someone actually told me to like, oh, badge pickup for professionals is Hall G. That is a long walk. Bless the Coraline cosplayer who watched my bag of my stock supply so I could walk over to Hall G to see if I could get my professional badge there. Sadly, it was not. Luckily, I was able to find the Coraline cosplayer who was watching my bag because walking that bag from my hotel to the convention center was already doing a number on me. It was not even 9 a.m. and I could feel like sweat just kind of drip on my back, and here I am wearing like this silver gown, and I'm just trying not to crash out because I just want to just figure out how to get in. Because if you have a professional badge, the line it's really quick. It's just like just walk up, pick up your badge, and go. And I was asking security kindly if I could like just pass through like certain areas, because I had a huge bag with me and I didn't want to be crowded in with all the people just trying to get into the dealer's hall. Because my strategy was to pick up my badge and take the back entrance into the dealer's hall because that's where the booth was. So ended up taking the hey, thanks for the follow. Taking the elevator down to the back entrance of the exhibit hall, and then found out that unfortunately the booth had not been set up yet. So I kind of had to watch the booth until the people had to get there, meaning I had to miss out on the Gundam panel, which made me sad because I really wanted to check out the Gundam panel. All right, so I kind of did some dealers hall exploring. So you can see here, Mattel was still setting up for K-pop Demon Hunters and their Masters of the Universe setup. They were trying to like get some press stuff out of the way. I do like stopping by the Mattel booth, but I kind of feel like there's missed opportunities to sell like special edition Barbies at Comic Con. I know I whine about this every year, but like, you know what? I get it. People like Masters of the Universe, they like Hot Wheels, they like WWE, but like, I want to get some special edition Barbies at this con. Thank you very much. But I do like looking at Mattel's WWE setup here. I love that they got Paul Heyman just doing like that whole like excellent kind of pose. It'd be funny if I like got this ring and if I got like a Skeletor figure, a Sailor Mars figure, um, Litten, but it's like Litten as a cat, and my Persian plush, Mr. Satan. You see where I'm going with this Cosplay Wrestling Federation, and just like kind of like make like a whole Cosplay Wrestling Federation diorama if I had like this ring over here. And then my two cats will like knock it over. I also stopped by at the Bandai booth. They also has like these really cute Gundam figures, and I'm like I kind of like get the wing version, and wing and classic Grandpa Gundam over here with Amuro Ray. Even though I missed out on the Gundam panels, like you know what, at least I could still see the Gundam booth. Yeah, y'all can keep Kira. I really tried to get into Seed, but it just really wasn't for me. And yes, there is Granddaddy Gundam over here. I really love this year's Gundam display. It's just like, chef's kiss. Of course, you had like this Double Dare inspired Nickelodeon booth. I took a quick glance here. It's like, oh wow, this is like my childhood because I used to watch Double Dare all the time. And also, I believe the slime thing, the origins of that was you can't do that on television. And just kind of sort of just relax for a bit. Normally, what I do is I like to go on the mezzanine level to just kind of relax and to just recharge my brain after being overstimulated on the con floor. And this is also like my first time running a con solo, just wandering by myself in a while. Normally, I usually have friends with me to kind of keep me like on the ground per se, but like I always like just coming out here, having a salad, and I just happened to just run into the Indiana Jones gathering. And over here, they were just kind of getting, they were trying to get a shot set up. If you can look closely in the background, someone is cosplaying as the boulder for the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And they were shooting this video of the boulder chasing all the indie cosplayers. It was funny because one year I was cosplaying as Shanae from Bakano, and I had a friend, they may reveal themselves if they wish, cosplaying as Short Round, and people thought I was cosplaying as Willie, but like, Willie has blonde hair, Shanae has like black hair. And this was the final shot of the Indiana Jones cosplay meetup. Like, I love Indiana Jones, it's like one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I'm just trying to figure out like which character should I cosplay as, because I think as much as a lot of crap Lily gets, I think she's such a fun character, and she actually reacts how any human would react if she was put in those perilous situations. So in this cottage we are a Willy defender. Yeah, these are just some photos of just roaming around the convention. Sometimes I'll take photos of just cosplayers just passing by as I'm having lunch. I do appreciate the What We Do in the Shadows cosplayers. And I love seeing different versions of Donut. I really like how this Donut cosplayer is like has this speak now kind of outfit, and now I'm like, dang, now I want to do like a Donut in a speak now kind of dress from the Eras tour. So I'm having like a lot of ideas on how to cosplay Donut. Right now, my current vision of Donut is doing a Gyaru, Ahego. I hope I said that right. Version of Donut. I know where I can get cat ears, no problem. I know where I can get crowns, no problem. Um, it's funny enough, I have a Bratz choker with a purple butterfly on it that I can use. It's just a matter of just kind of like conceptualizing the outfit. Because I just think it would be just cute to do a Yaru version of a donut and just have like the furry leg socks too. Yeah. Oh, Silk Song. Willie is OG Ashley Graham energy. Yes, I agree. Yeah, and this was like the SCA group that was doing fight demonstrations, and this little princess here was also handing out flyers, and she even had like her own chariot with her too. So it's to me like one of my favorite things and traditions at Comic Con is just hanging out here and just watching like the SCA groups in their like Ren Fair inspired outfits of different characters. If you look closely, you can see folks in Mario inspired Ren Fair outfits, and they're just having a good time, and it's just really nice to just kind of like just get some ocean breeze and just watch people just kind of like go at it with their swords and stuff. I wanted to get a photo of me as Utena here on the last day, but I missed out on that. But like next time around when I wear Utena to Comic Con, definitely gonna get a photo here as Utena. I also went to the Writers Coffee House. This is over at the Marriott. My colleague Elle um, was also part of this panel, and a lot of it is just like, hey, ask an author like what the process is like getting published, how to get started, how do I face writer's block, how do I get my work out there. So I thought this is also those are just a really nice roundtable discussion, and they also were talking about like how they also have writers coffee house roundtables in Los Angeles and in San Diego. I'll probably check out some of the LA related ones since that's much closer to me. But I really enjoy just kind of just sitting in for a little bit and just checking this out. Also, not photographed here. I wanted to mention that I ran into Timothy Zahn. I actually talked to him on Thursday. There wasn't much of a line to meet him, and he had like a lot of his books for sale. I ended up getting the follow up to Thrawn because even though I have everything in audio, I like to have things in hardcover and signed by the author. And I've met Timothy Zahn many times before, and having just just imagine just meeting like one of your idols again, and you're telling your idol that, hey, I also have a signing here at Comic Con just like you, and thank you for really inspiring me. Your book saved my life in middle school, and I'm a writer today because of you. And then he wished me luck on my first signing because my first signing was on Thursday. And like, yes, I have Timothy Zahn's blessing. And then also, like you can also just see here some cosplayers. You have like yeah, folks from Pokemon. Okay, so when I was just going through my photos, when I was looking at these Diglett cosplayers, I'm like, Hanson, is that you? No, I can't unsee Hanson. And then we have like a One Piece family, and then we also have Sailor Saturn over there too. Yeah, I had a great time at San Diego Comic Con. Yeah, Timothy Zahn is really amazing. You should also check out his like fantasy work too. The good news is he does like a lot of conventions on the West Coast, so yeah, I'll introduce you to him, Comey, if we're ever at a con together. All right. And then here we just kind of like just have more photos of me cosplaying as the Lady in Silver. Um, I'm right here at the Her Universe simulcast. I didn't get a ticket for Her Universe because apparently people line up at 4 a.m. to get tickets for Her Universe to watch the fashion show. I'm like, I'm not that dedicated. And I got in on Wednesday evening, like close to like 2 minutes before midnight. No, no joke. I got into the hotel room 2 minutes before midnight. And like, nah, I want to pass out. But I did see a little bit of her universe fashion show on the simulcast. It was just kind of cool, just kind of sitting down with like people who are into nerdy fashion, just watching the whole thing together. And then I met this guy. I ran into him when I was just talking to like an artist I follow. Um, oh my god, like he just happened to show up at the right time. I love this guy. Yeah, yeah, Comey. 2 minutes before midnight. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, Tony Weaver. I love his content, and if you're not watching him, you should watch him. I know he had a panel because he was also talking about his book too. So I really needed to run into him at the right time because it was just really cool just seeing him. Just one of my favorite people I like to follow on Instagram because his content just kind of gives me a sparkle. And that's the theme of this convention, spreading sparkle all around. All right. So I had my first signing over at Dewata Comics. You can kind of see here that my hair is a little bit frazzled, just kind of walking from the Marriott to get to the booth. And also just kind of like just putting the mask on and off. Uh, I was also selling stickers um, that were made by my friend Ella V. Hernandez. And you can just see here, I was had a signing for about 2 hours over at Dewata Comics. It was a little bit chaotic. The space was small. I thought it was going to be a little bit bigger, kind of like some of the other booths over in Small Press. And also, I had a very small space to kind of interact with people. So, knowing that, like, okay, maybe for the next few days, because I was also scheduled for a signing on Friday and Sunday. Yeah, like maybe I could just like figure things out now that I know what it looks like and now I know what the vibe is. However, unfortunately, on the morning of Friday, they had canceled my signing. They said it was due to overbooking because they had 15 different content creators being rotated out. And then they said, well, we'll figure out something on Sunday. So I show up on Sunday during my signing. And as I was about to get things settled in, they tell me my signing was canceled the moment I show up. I'll leave you to draw your conclusions from there, but I also want to add in that the only time I would have been able to sell my book was at my signing, so I lose 3 hours to sell my book and to make money at Comic Con. I only had those 2 hours, and during those 2 hours on Thursday, I was still just trying to get a feel and a lay of the land. And they also wouldn't have my book up because I was under the impression that they would have my book up during the weekend of Comic Con because I brought enough stock to sell for all 4 days. I only had one book, and you can kind of see what kind of books they have up here. And my book was about fandom. And as a Filipino, because they are a Filipino company, as a Filipino writer who is one of the first people to write about 90s anime teenage fandom, that this would be valued and be on their shelves as well. So, with that said, anyone who had been in my shoes would have been as sad and devastated as I was. But I wasn't going to let that kill my sparkle because I had a community that supported me. This is Stephanie and Nicole. I love their work. In fact, I also gave them a nomination for the Hugo Awards because they wrote just some of my favorite fantasy books I've read in the past year. Like Stephanie came out with a book called Monday mornings and enchanted evenings. I was an ARC reader for this that cozy fantasy book, and even though like ARCs, we get free copies of them. We also, excuse me, I also decided like I'm gonna buy your special edition because I love this book so much. And honestly, shout out to the book community, shout out to the cosplay community, shout out to the otaku community, and the friends who have known me for the past decade and even more, for coming out to support me when my world was falling apart at San Diego Comic Con. When Timothy Zahn and my author friends were cheering me on, saying they were happy for me. When my DM for Dungeons and Dragons says that they were jealous of me, and I told my DM, like, look, when your time comes, when you publish your first book, Robbie, I'm taking you with me because we're going to share in the success together. I am so happy and so thankful for everyone who came out to support me when I was on the verge of losing my sparkle. And then I decided to show that sparkle and shine throughout the rest of the weekend. I might have been sad on the inside. I might have been broken on the inside. But either way, I still needed to sparkle and shine. Because best believe I'm still bejeweled and I can do it with a broken heart. All right, on to more lighthearted things. So, some Thursday cosplays I ran into. Bochi the Rock. And this gentleman over here was very happy that I noticed his Blue Lock cosplay. We actually had a good conversation about soccer and FIFA because I was like, yeah, the reason why I started watching Blue Lock is because I wanted to learn more about soccer, and I actually have a friend who cosplays from Blue Lock. And yeah, well, like, he's like, oh my god, someone else knows what I'm cosplaying from here. Like, yeah, Blue Lock. Like, yeah, like, I ran into the weeb section of, like, with the weeb intersection here. And then I honestly should start watching Bochi the Rock after talking to this gentleman right here. I know I've been, like, it's been on my to-watch list, and I have a really long to-watch list. And, like, yeah. I'm just, like, just going through the comments here. The conclusion is rage. Yes, I was so angry for you. And I'm proud of everything you've done, as said by the I'm at Comic-Con guy. And we got a lot of love for Bochi the Rock here. Look, I got into soccer because of Captain Tsubasa. Blue Lock is the new gateway, and I'm very happy. Okay, just for you, Komi, I'll start watching Bochi the Rock soon. That in Witch Hat Atelier. Alright, and then I ran into these Darkstalkers cosplayers, and this person cosplaying as Sailor Moon, and I was even just telling her like, yeah, like, we were just chit-chatting, and she told me that she interviewed Terry Hawks when she was in San Diego a couple months ago. So I'm like, yeah, like, I'm looking forward to, like, watching your interview with Terry Hawks. And she's like, yeah, if you're ever in San Diego, I'd like to interview you too. Like, cool. Let's do it eventually. Oh, adulting and scheduling stuff. Yeah, it kind of feels like my photos here are just kind of like sort of discombobulated. But yeah, these were just some of the fashions they were showing off over at the Her Universe section over at the Hyatt. This year's theme for Her Universe was DC Comics. And I was even thinking to myself, if I had an entry for Her Universe, what would that look like? And because I like the more obscure stuff, like, yeah, maybe like something inspired by Silver Swan. Or I could also just give honor to my favorite DC girl, Zatanna. I will heal from that trauma, and then I will cosplay as Zatanna, I promise. Yeah, and this is just like the lot of us just watching the simulcast on that TV screen over there. I was just over in the couches just hanging out. And then one of the things I liked about the DC area was they had like an animal shelter that was also putting some doggos up for adoption. So this black dog here, like I just totally fell in love with. Like I'm gonna name you Bellevue because you're that adorable. It had like a cute pug kind of face too. It was like adorable. And you can just see some of the other doggos over here too. And I'm like, I'd adopt you. I'd like to bring you home, Bellevue, but I have two cats, one of which is very hyper, and one of it which likes to think she's queen of the world. All right, before we go into Friday, I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Giles Portress. He has a book out called Tokyo Stroll, a guide to city sidetracks and easy explorations. Basically, this is a guide to, well, yeah, this is basically is like everything you'd like to check out in Tokyo, how to make the best of your time. If you're in Japan, you can find this on most major booksellers such as Amazon and so forth. A link in the description if you want to read more. All right, Friday. So because I'm such an early riser anyway, I ended up just wearing Evermore, and as I was heading out the door, that's when I got the text message that my signing was canceled. So I had like that moment from Obsession where I was like, no, 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 no. I think my hotel mates were like fast asleep when that happened, so I decided to, like, you know what, I'm gonna make the best out of a terrible situation because I need a sparkle and I need a shine. I'm gonna go to the cat cafe that I really enjoy. And then here is like just people just doing the bum rush to get into the exhibit hall as it goes in. You can see people here just running to get in. You have the staff telling people like, yeah, you need to walk, not run. And then of course I heard like some jerk holes being all like, oh, some people are faking that they're this disabled. Like, excuse me. Um, some people have something called invisible disabilities, and that's when I just happened to fart in their general direction. And then just some highlights of Friday cosplays. I don't know what the first photo is from, but I'm like, I love the rabbit outfit here. And then we have Christine from Phantom of the Opera, and she was actually quite surprised, like, "Oh my God, you know what I'm from?" Like, of course I know what you're from. I've been a Phantom of the Opera girly since like, yeah, I've been a Phantom of the Opera fangirl, Phan, since middle school. And then we have Archer from Fate. I was actually happy to see Fate costumes. It was funny because I was hanging out with a friend, and then, like, yeah, I'm so happy to see old nostalgic anime costumes. Like, wait, Fate is considered old? Fate is considered nostalgia now? And then here, Friday, more cosplayers and some characters. We have the Fix It Felix cosplayer. He was actually at Masquerade. And note, if you are ever planning to attend, or sorry, if you're ever planning to compete in Masquerade at Comic Con, he runs a cosplay repair table. And I really appreciated that he had that available because, like, yeah, sometimes you need an extra safety pin, you need like an extra bobby pin. Sometimes you need to do a hot fix with a hot glue, no pun intended. And then you have a spy family over here, and I thought this was really cute. It makes me want to like just fix up my Yor cosplay because I miss cosplaying as Yor, but the outfit doesn't fit me anymore. Or rather, I bought the outfit at like one of those fast fashion cosplay stores like back in the day, and it's falling apart. But just kind of eyeballing dress, like, yeah, I can make that. I could just repurpose bits and pieces of that old Yor cosplay and just kind of just make it my own because I do like the accessories that it came with. But it's just always cute just seeing people cosplaying with their families. And then security over here at the convention center, they wanted to get their own photo. Like, can we also get a photo too? I'm like, hey, I always take photos of vibes and I'll give you a mention on my YouTube channel. Like, yeah, what's your YouTube channel? So I'm just like exchanging my YouTube information with them. It's like, yeah, like, security guys, if you see this, congratulations. You're on YouTube. And people, oh yeah, people are making comments about you. Let's read what people are saying about you, security dudes. Love the security dudes. They are the unstrung heroes. I think you meant unsung heroes. And we got people commentating on Fate being old school. Oh god, turns into dust. Ow, my bones. Did some wandering around the dealer's hall, so this is the only Marvel content that I took at the convention. Like, behold, the Marvel booth. We are promoting Avengers Doomsday. I am cautiously optimistic. But I think like one of the best parts about Friday was meeting one of my idols. How many of you here have heard of Project Echo? Anyway, so um, I, every artist I ran into on Friday I spoke to was just very supportive of my unfortunate situation, and I really want to give a shout out to a lot of my friends, a lot of the artist folks that I spoke to, and all of y'all need to check out Moonbound Studio. Their artwork is just so inspirational. A lot of you know that I'm a fan of Wisteria Flowers. I'm a fan of Lavender, and I love how they integrate it into their gothic artwork. So highly recommend checking them out because she even has stories affiliated with each of her art pieces. So you definitely check them out. And then I also and I mentioned earlier about Project Echo. Here it is. We have Samantha Newark. She is the speaking voice of Gem. In fact, like right after the con, I started to watch old episodes of Gem on Tubi. So, what is connection to Project Echo with Samantha Newark and Gem and the Holograms? I asked Samantha, like, hey, do you remember Project Echo? I think you did a song for Project Echo. And then both of us were singing In Your Eyes to each other. In Your Eyes is that ballad that kind of plays throughout Project Echo, and Samantha Newark sings that song. And I told Samantha that, like, one Christmas during high school, my parents wanted me to just get up and sing a song at this Chinese restaurant in front of my family, in front of their colleagues. And the only song I was like listening to, what I was listening to like on the way up, was In Your Eyes from Project Echo. So I ended up singing that at that Christmas party. Oh, cool! We got some cool people in here. Thank you, James 33. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, so she actually has an album out. I actually got it signed. I was like, yeah, impulse buy. I just needed something. So I kind of had like my life of the showgirl moment. It's that moment when Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter are like singing to each other, and also just shout out to my other artist friend here who does like all the Taylor Swift art. Um, I wanted to get a photo of the Midnight's album because Midnight's is just what I was just feeling inside while putting on this showgirl act at Comic Con, because it just was just kind of like symbolic of like just me and Samantha Newark, and she just kind of was helping keep my sparkle alive on Friday. But yeah, I she also actually also told me that there is an event called GemCon in San Diego, and she was encouraging me like, yeah, I should enter the costume contest, I should join them. Like, I've been watching Gem on TV, just trying to find like outfits that I can wear because she has like a whole wardrobe of outfits. And I'm not just talking about her like singing like music video 80s outfits. Like sometimes they'll have a time travel episode. My favorite 80s TV cartoon trope where they time travel and she has like all these and they're wearing like these Rococo French outfits, or they're in these World War II Yoso type outfits. And I'm like, I have choices here. I have a lot of pink fabric. Let's make this happen. So I'm on the fence whether or not I'll be joining GemCon. Um, I really do want to check it out because I think I'm at an age where I want to check more nichier conventions, like the more anime and Comic Cons are popular. They're becoming like this Coachella of sorts. And maybe I should just kind of lean into the niche to kind of get that old feeling back. But yeah, I didn't even see that she had a signing. I just kind of was just walking around the corner, and Samantha New York just happened to be there. And honestly, shout out to you, Samantha, because you put a lot of sparkle back into my Friday and a lot of sparkle back into my Comic Con. And you know what? Showtime. And it was just funny just singing In Your Eyes from Project Echo. You got Gem, and you have me cosplaying as Taylor Swift. So it's like Taylor Swift meets Gem in this photo. All right, and then I was on my way to the Cat Cafe, and Mattel had the Tiger car from K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm like, I would love to own this car in real life, but reality is, dang, I had to pay insurance on a Porsche. I had to pay for vehicular registration. Be nice to like own something cool as this, but I also realized like, dang, I only have one parking spot to my name. But if I got rich, there would be signs, and this would be the penultimate sign. Well, yeah, getting a Hot Wheels Tiger car from K-pop Demon Hunters and an '88 white Ferrari because I had a Barbie Ferrari. I have a 19 because one of my first Barbie cars for my Barbies was like an '88 white Ferrari. I know they sell them as toys on Rams, but I want the real one, like one that I could like drive. All right, Cat Cafe time. I always, one of my traditions at San Diego Comic Con is to check out the Cat Cafe. I didn't book a specific time for the Cat Cafe because let me just book on the day of and just see what they have available. And I ended up just going to the Cat Cafe during the time when it would have been my signing. So I decided to just kind of have my lunch here. I brought my salad, just decided to eat outside. And then you had like people just passing by, like, wait, are there real cats in there? Like, yeah, there are real cats in there. And then we also had, and usually what gets you in is like pay $30, you get some coffee, you get to play with kitties, adorable kitties. And yeah, it's always a good time at the Cat Cafe. This friend over here, Pumpernickel, looks a lot like my cat Nico, and the two of us just got along. Yeah, Pumpernickel was just so adorable, and Pumpernickel also has a sister too. So again, this is usually my tradition at San Diego Comic Con. It's like I'm gonna make some time to stop at the Cat Cafe. It's just one of my favorite places to just decompress and to de-stress. And then after the Cat Cafe, speaking of cats, I ran into the Dungeon Crawler Carl Gathering. So this is towards the tail end of it, and it was the boxers and the amount of donut cosplayers that gave it away. So I was just kind of like just crouched here in the front, just trying to just get photos, because as a photographer at gatherings, there's always that one guy that is up at the front and standing up, and you can see their butt in the shots. Y'all, that's rude. Like, give people behind you a chance to also get their shot too. You're not the main character photographer. I swear. Yeah, I just see like more cosplayers here. I finally met Mongo last night in the books. So Mongo's that dinosaur looking thing over there. I also like how some of the Carl cosplayers also had like Princess Donut makeshift plushes on there too. So yeah, just kind of just a general overview of the Dungeon Crawl cosplay meetup. Also, this is my first con, the first time I've ever had a Dirty Shirley. So basically, I just was over Thursday evening. I just went over to Spaghetti Factory, and they were kind enough to. I ordered one Dirty Shirley. Then I was just kind of like just talking about like my day, and they just gave me another Dirty Shirley on the house because it was just about closing time. Also, someone was. I just find the wording of this funny. Someone was like pouring virgin dirty Shirleys at the gathering. So you can see people here with red solo shot glass cups. But a lot of people are like, wait, isn't a virgin dirty Shirley just a Shirley Temple? Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, the coffee is always amazing at this particular cat cafe. Um, yeah, if we're ever hanging out, if you want to just check out a cat cafe, there's one in Oceanside that also has witchy vibes too. I've been curious to check that out. I love the inflatable manga over here too. Again, I just love seeing how people like interpret donut. And one day I'll finally just get like a donut cosplay. I just had to figure out like just the variations of a torty Persian. Yeah, just some photos of DCC cosplayers. It was also funny too because I showed up in my Evermore outfit, and a lot of people thought I was cosplaying as a character, Marion Dom. She doesn't show up until later in the books, but I was told that I would like her. Okay, and then we have like the rating chart here. Looks like they were doing Avatar: The Last Airbender. I had no contribution to this whatsoever. I just like seeing people just go crazy over these things. And yeah, just Friday vibes, just kind of like just looking at the whole gas lamp area, just kind of just looking at the crowds here. And yeah, just kind of like just vibes of the gas lamp area. We have the whole doomsday kind of archway over here. I didn't really do like a lot of offsites since those tend to be crowded, and it was like one of the hottest San Diego Comic Cons I've ever been to. Um, I didn't really want to stand in line outside for too long. But I again, it's always tradition that I always stop by Spaghetti Factory over here, and I always stop by the Cat Cafe. Oh, I should have changed that photo, but um, right after our masquerade rehearsal, we ended up going to this place called Fat Tuesdays to try out some of the villainy DC drinks they had. So just my friends and I, we just decided to just go up in here. The music's not really my vibe. A lot of it's just like modern hip hops. Like we're just kind of like just in the back in the corner, just kind of like yeah, we're just gonna be sipping on our drinks. I ordered the Poison Ivy. It was like a minty bourbon kind of drink, which is more of my style. It's like minty bourbons. Like okay, let's give this a try. Yeah, I agree that the heat and humidity was just really bad that weekend. Like even not even like I said earlier, like not even before like 9 or 10, I'm already sweating in the back. All right, but before we move on to Saturday, I'd like to give a shout out to the Crafting Con by Evie Stobbs. This is a story about childhood friends who cosplayed together. However, circumstances tore them apart, and now they're back to figure out a cosplay project together for an upcoming anime convention. It's a really cute YA rom com that integrates geek culture and cosplay, and just how we changed throughout the years, and just how like we're just kind of just drawn back to the things that we hold close together. So highly recommend this book when it comes out. All right, let's talk about Saturday. So Saturday, this is just like my big masquerade day. I actually didn't cosplay on Saturday. It's like just one of the few times ever you'll see me wear regular clothes at a con. So I was very happy to run into fake cosplayers. Like seeing this just made me very happy. Had a great conversation with them about conventions in Arizona and Anime Los Angeles, which I think is like my favorite convention in California. You also have some Inuyasha cosplayers that made me happy. And then also just seeing like HR Skeletor. And of course, like I was able to get a closer look at just some of the Masters of the Universe toys because I know I have friends who would be into them. So you can just take a look right here. I like the kitty. The scene in Master of the Universe when you first see Cringer's like, I want to pet it. I want one in real life. Yeah, I also like the figure here of Jimbro Skeletor. It just amuses me. And yeah, just some random cosplays on Saturday. I was able to get one photo of a cosplay entry from Masquerade. It's just like our group was just trying to get everything together and just and mentally prep for the evening, which I totally get. And I also had to mentally prep for the evening. I think I took a very long nap after lunch on Saturday just so I can like have my energy for the rest of the evening because Masquerade takes up a lot of time. So just if you want to know what my timeline was like on Saturday, wake up early, just dress in regular clothes, just kind of wander around the convention center, just take photos, have lunch with friends, and after lunch with friends, just kind of just take a nap for a bit. I really felt bad for my friends who are also in our masquerade skit because while we were having lunch, there was a fire in the Marriott. We were dining over at the Marriott and like, okay, $30 chicken Alfredo. All right, sure. Um, so like, what was I say again? Yeah, chicken Alfredo. And then we hear the fire alarm, and all of us at the table are just joking around, like, yeah, what pulled the fire alarm? But we didn't know it was a serious thing until my friends and I we went to the Marriott lobby, and they were talking about a fire, and certain rooms had to be evacuated, and and there was like all these fire trucks right outside of the hotel. And then they had to shut down the water. They also had to shut down the elevators. So my friends had to walk up to their room in the Marriott, about 15 flights of stairs, and then walk down 15 flights of stairs to get to masquerade check-in. So it was a pretty crazy day. And then here we have just some cosplayers from like Saturday. Again, I was only able to get the Optimus Prime. I believe they won Best in Show at Masquerade. And then we also have here just some more Dungeon Crawler Carl cosplays. And we also have Blues Clues as well. And if you're curious about our masquerade entry, this is us. Basically, it's a mashup of Strawberry Shortcake and the Japanese artist Sakizo. If you're not familiar with Sakizo, definitely look them up. You'll be mesmerized by their character designs. So we wanted to make like these Rococo kind of inspired outfits. My design was based on coffee from one of the art pieces that Sakizo has done because I wanted to kind of like just lean into the gender androgyny of plum pudding. So that was a lot of fun to do. It was actually interesting because I actually thought about doing a lime chiffon, but I also want to like see like what leftover fabric I had. And a lot of the purple I happened to have was leftovers from a project that never got off the ground. I was supposed to be Princess Saturn for a Princess Saturn group, but that group fell apart. So like, okay, strap in, you're gonna be plum pudding. I had a lot of fun with this skit. Basically, it was just a very fancy walk on set to Runway by Doechii and Lady Gaga from the Devil Wears Prada soundtrack. It was just, I don't know, I just had a lot of fun doing it. I know a lot of us were really stressing out, but there's just something I enjoy about being on stage. And also, I miss being a part of masquerades because you can talk to other cosplayers like in the back room, not the back rooms. Well, when they line you up, you're kind of in the back rooms. A lot of love to you guys. A lot of love to y'all. In the green room where you can like just chit chat with other cosplayers. You can chit chat with, yeah, you can like share ideas, make friends, share stickers, share trinkets. I know. I just thought it was just a lot of fun. I just miss doing these type of things, and look forward to doing again with all of y'all next year. But yeah, Sakizo Shortcake. And also, we won an award. We won Best Original Design, so all the credit goes to Lindley and Key for coming up with all this. And this was just something amazing. I, it was just like the icing on the sparkle cake. Yeah, you can just see us over here. This is a photo that my friend Albert took of our skit. All right, before we move on, I'm just going to put this display. It's very self explanatory. I'm going to have a drink right now because my throat is dry from all that talking. So, this advert is going to be here. Okay, let's get into Sunday. Oh boy, I need to take a better. Okay, so with Sunday, I cosplayed as Utena. Utena was the first cosplay I've ever worn. So with the character of Utena, I had Setsuna Co commission my first Utena cosplay. And I've been meaning for years to like remake Utena. So I ended up just making this version based off the TV series because I've been rewatching Utena, and it's just been such a trip down memory lane. So the wig is from an old Utena costume because I actually did the white duelist version 10 years ago. The accessories were made by my friend Patty of Starlit Creations, and I just happened to have a white rose in storage. So, yeah, it was fun wearing this. My friend also 3D printed the ring. I didn't bother removing my nail polish from the skit. It's like I'm tired. Like I don't want to like take off my nail polish. So it was just cool, just wearing all of this together. It was funny because I sent a selfie of myself wearing the ring, and I told to my mom, and my mom was like, did he get you a pope ring? Are you the pope? And then I also sent a photo of it to my friend who's also into Utena. It's like, yeah, darling got me a ring finally. It's like, if he got you a rose duelist ring, run! And also, I love this badge insert that I picked up on the day on Friday. It's called the Tortured Attendees Department. If you want to know what it was like for me on the inside, yeah, that was me. Just sharing sparkle while just trying to like just fight depression inside. All right. I don't have photos of it here, but I went to the Babysitters Club panel because I wanted to wake up early to attend the 10 a.m. Babysitters Club panel. I didn't get a lot of good pictures of that one, but it was just kind of cool just hearing like the artist and the writer behind the Babysitters Club comics talk about how they were interpreting characters, how they were interpreting stories, how they were drawing characters, and what their inspirations were. So I thought that was pretty neat, and just kind of like just being in a room full of Babysitters Club enthusiasts, people who grew up with it. That was really cool too. Like this is a really good year for like Babysitters Club fandom. I still have my first print edition books. I still have the Babysitter's Little Sister books, and I've actually been reading some of the Little Sister comics because that's what I grew up with. Because um, I was 10, same age as Karen, so I would read the Little Sister stories just so like, hey, like I want to live vicariously through these books as a 10-year-old. And those are always fun. How Karen had a lot of her adventures, and I didn't realize how white those stories were until I was much older. It's like, oh yeah, like you have charm school, you have access to a horse farm. Okay, maybe like it's more of a Connecticut bougie thing, but still. It's like I wish I had access to horses in like the LA suburbs. I want to ride horses. So this photo is obviously not Babysitters Club, but it's Air Bud because they're promoting the new Air Bud movie. I know nothing of this franchise. So I decided to because it was in the same room as the Sailor Moon panel. So I'm like, I'm just gonna like just camp out here. I'm gonna stare at this golden retriever that looks like our old retriever, Jar Jar Binks, and just kind of like just chill here for a bit. And yeah, wait for the panel to start so I can get a good seat. Yep, indeed, Ramses. They made 20 Air Bud movies. I have not seen a single one. Yeah, they were promoting a new Air Bud movie. Okay, so here's the Sailor Moon panel. So it was like, so we had the moderator over here, and most of the panelists were the voice actors for the Viz dub. We were just talking about what it was like to be part of Sailor Moon's like 30 plus year legacy. You had Michelle Ruff, Lauren Landa, Carrie Karanen, hope I pronounced your name right, and um, Debbie Derryberry. I hope I also pronounced your name correctly. So Michelle plays Luna, Laura Landa plays Neptune, Carrie plays Galaxia, and Debbie Derryberry plays Diana. So we had two cats up there. I thought it was just cool just listening to like, yeah, what their experience is like meeting other Sailor Moon fans, just being part of again a 30 plus year legacy. And it was just really cool just kind of like, being in a room full of Moonies because we pretty much like took over that panel room. There were still plenty of seats left, but I was able to snag a seat in the second row. And shout out to Geki for getting my cane, because Geki only showed up on Sunday, and because my back was having problems because of carrying a lot of stuff on Thursday. Like, yeah, I need my cane to help me with my balance. So yeah, so basically, I think what would benefited from this panel was to get kind of a mix of people involved in the Sailor Moon fandom. Like for example, like you have like a lot of YouTube channels that do talk about Sailor Moon and shoujo manga. I would have loved it if we got at least one or two people to bounce things out from the Deke and Cloverway dub, to also just talk about their experience. So if you look up any of the Deke voice actor panels on YouTube, which is like one of my favorite things to listen to, they also look back fondly on being part of Sailor Moon because they had no idea how big it was, because they were just kind of just going in, just doing their job. But they were just all, if you hear them just talk about like, yeah, when Mary Long did that scene where Molly um realizes that, spoiler alert for an old anime series from the 90s, that the episode where Nephrite dies and he's not coming back. They weren't they weren't ready for what they were getting into and how dramatic this was going to be. And I would have loved to, like, like just maybe for future reference, like just kind of get a variety of people up on that panel to just really talk about that experience. It was still just kind of cool just being in a room full of Moonies, just talking to them. I even talked to them briefly right after the panel, very briefly, because like, oh yeah, I have my 1 o'clock sighting. It's 12:45. I need to get downstairs right away. And then only to be told my signing was canceled. When you can't sign, you can't sell, and when you can't sell, you can't eat. And then also, you have here, just, yeah, just kind of like just more like just panel photos here. Also, you had a couple of Sailor Moon cosplayers over over at the front as well. And then, well, signing canceled. I guess I'll go to the wrestling gathering. So I ended up just checking out the wrestling gathering just for a little bit, just kind of got some photos, and I was telling them about Cosplay Wrestling Federation because why not? Yeah, I really appreciate just kind of like seeing like different eras of wrestlers over here at the wrestling gathering. I was joking with Geki because Geki is our referee for Cosplay Wrestling Federation. Like, you should show up next year and wear your ref shirt. I just think that would be funny. And then on Sunday, I had my panel with my friends over here, and we were just like barely alive from Saturday's masquerade. So I filled in as moderator. Normally the way I run this, usually have three to four people on the panel, and we just kind of like to share our experience, just kind of like being in fandom in the 90s and early 2000s. But I decided, since we have a lot of people, and getting four people plus a moderator is just kind of the sweet spot, because you don't want to overbook and you don't want to like just overload your panel, because you want to make sure everyone has a voice and a chance to like speak thoughtfully and thoroughly about each of their experience. And I really like how what all the stories, what everyone had to share. We talked about things like watching anime in the 90s, and each of us kind of had like a different intro anime. We also talked about like what conventions were like back in the early 2000s, what masquerades were like, uh, putting together your cosplay, what were just some events you would go to cosplay. So this was just kind of like a very interesting time to just talk about, and I'm very thankful for San Diego Comic Con for approving of this panel because we did this 2 years ago with Geki and Ramses because it was just the three of us on stage, and now we have it to like my team of masquerade veterans and veteran cosplayers sharing their experience because I want to always change this panel up each time I do this. Share different photos, share different stories because I really think that a lot of this era has not been documented as much. And there's a part of us, which is kind of part of us that don't like to think that 25 years ago, 26 years ago, 30 years ago isn't historical. And we kind of need to get over that mindset because now we just need to start like documenting what was that like. And that was like one of my reasons for writing my book, The Fangirl Diaries, was like no one has documented this. No one has treated this as a historical moment. Let me just write about like what it was like to be a 90s anime cringy millennial teen getting into all of this when it wasn't considered cool. And of course, I had to highlight some of my friends in the slides. So this is a live Albert reaction when he saw that we had his photos of his younger self on there. And this is just at the end of the panel. This over here, just Albert just taking our photo. Always appreciated, Al. And then at the end of the panel, at the end of the panel, you know what? When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade and you make a lemonade stand. So what I ended up doing, cause I had that suitcase full of unsold books that was supposed to be selling throughout the San Diego Comic Con weekend, I decided to just sell my book right after the panel. I made a couple of sales, which was great, and one of which had paid for my steak dinner later that night. Appreciate it, because remember, when I sell, I eat. And I'm going to have a steak dinner because I deserve it. I also had someone who made a very kind donation for Nico's vet bills. I really appreciated it because that was also just part of my tabling. Like, yeah, if you also wanted to donate to Nico's vet bills, you get a free ribbon, blah, 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 and you get a free Nico sticker. Unfortunately, those stickers didn't come in during the con, but again, thank you for those who also donated to Nico's vet bill. If you also want to donate to Nico's vet bill, link in the description. We're getting close to getting his bills down. We just need an extra push, and we just need some more help just trying to get his vet bills down. But yeah, this is just like our last selfie before the end of the con. At the end of the con, I visited my one of my mentors, Teresa, because she also wanted a copy of my book, and she was also sad that I wasn't able to have a signing that day. So like, yeah, just visit me at my booth, and I'll buy a copy. Like, thank you so much, Teresa. Appreciate it. And with that said, I'm just going to give a quick plug to my book, The Fangirl Diaries. This is all about that era of anime fandom in the 90s and early 2000s. What was it like getting into anime when it wasn't cool? What was it like getting into anime when you were an outcast? What was it like getting into anime and just being a fan of something when no one quite understood why you liked the things you did? And what was cosplay like back in the early 2000s? How did we figure it all out? Check out my book, The Fangirl Diaries, link in description. And also, check out Comey's stream. He's having a stream on Tuesday, 4 o'clock. Please hold me accountable if I get that information wrong. And he's doing a live read of The Fangirl Diaries. So definitely check out their stream on that too. And in addition to that, again, check out my book, link in the description. And also, if you want me to do a panel like in my Y2K era, let your local conventions know that you would like to see that as part of the programming, because I love yapping about convention history. I love yapping about fandom history. Like, I could go on about history of Gundam Wing fandom. I could go on about history of Sailor Moon fandom. Okay, it's Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Got it. Yeah, and Ramses dropped a link in the chat of where to buy it. I also want to just talk briefly about ADA. So this is my first time also just having ADA. I wanted to get a full photo because you can see in the full photo that I'm wearing the cane. I'm also holding a cane right here. Um, this is my first time getting ADA at Comic Con, and I am all of the belief that any form of ADA is better than no ADA. Because I can think of conventions that haven't had accommodations for folks with disabilities. I won't name the convention, but there's one I stopped going to. They don't have chairs at their panels. It's just like an open stage in a dealer's hall, and they don't have chairs, and that's bad. That's what I mean when like you have events that are not ADA friendly. So, um, so a lot, so excuse me. I won't disclose what my disability is right here and there, but when I went to the disability services, it's over in Hall A. So I had to make time to get to Hall A because picking my badge up, my badge was like in the middle of the convention center, and I had to haul my butt all the way to Hall A to get the disability sticker. Um, so when I was able to get there, thankfully, I didn't have to explain anything. I think the person who was giving out the sticker just saw that my hands were shaking and I needed a breather. And she pointed me out to their quiet rooms that they have at that area. And she gave me the sticker. Um, Usually, I normally have like my go-to places um, to recover. Usually, like in the morning, like in that back mezzanine area. I usually like going out there to just kind of like just have a breather right before the convention because it's not so crowded. When the pro lounge isn't so busy, like in the morning, I usually like to go in there, just kind of have a breather, have some water. But I do appreciate that San Diego Comic Con, they're very kind with ADA. Um, I didn't really have to stand or like go into any ADA lines. Again, there were panels that I wanted to check out, but because of, like just so many hiccups on the road, I wasn't able to check them out. Like, yeah, I would have loved to seen the Forbidden Island panel. I would have loved to gone to seen the Gundam panel. So I really can't talk about how much about lines, but I really do appreciate the people that I was talking to over at Disability Services and ADA accommodations, that they were very kind. And for most people, when they saw me with a cane on Sunday, just to like, I don't have, it's again, it's not issues with walking, it's just issues with keeping balance because when I was hauling that huge suitcase, I threw out my back and it was really hard to like stand for long periods of time without having to lean on something. So I really appreciate just how kind people were and understanding with my disability in both temporary and how I live my life every day. Yeah, let me just see here. Hot take: ADA has always been an issue when it comes to convention events. These events need to do better. I agree too. And I know like a lot of people have issues with how Comic Con does the lineup and who gets a seat. So I need to look into that more. But I'm just happy that it exists. And if it exists, they can definitely do better. Reminds me of a certain now defunct Orange Con that took chairs out of the halls because they thought it would make foot traffic faster, but it didn't help at all. Yikes. Invisible disabilities exist all. Yeah, totally. Yeah, they're very nice and understanding. Yeah, I agree. All right, so hot topics of Comic Con. Where should Hall of H events go to? I asked a few of my friends, and after just seeing some posts on. Okay, so for context, on the San Diego Comic Con Facebook groups, a lot of them were asking, like, where should we move Hall H events to? And then people are saying, oh, we should move them to Petco. We should make a new hall. And people were putting in some joke answers like, yeah, we should make a hall under the sea. Maybe we should like resurrect Qualcomm Stadium and have events there. And I asked a couple of my friends, like, okay, joke answers only. Where would you like to have Hall H events at? Let's see. We have Legoland, Del Mar Park, and this stadium in Tijuana. So yeah, in the comments, tell me where you would like to have Hall H events at. You can be as unserious as you like. It's called Snapdragon Stadium now. Got it. Yeah, let's move all Hall H events to Tijuana. All right, final thoughts on Comic Con, and that's me with my second Dirty Shirley. I could go for a Dirty Shirley right now. It is hot. All right, before we get into that, Ramses would like Hall H events to move to the Texas Motor Speedway. All right, so final thoughts on San Diego Comic Con. I had a great time in spite of the horribles, in spite of the horrors. A lot of everyone in my community, book, otaku, sorry, I'm hungry, otaku, weeb, cosplay, all of you came out for me this weekend to show your support and to have like the most kind words to me to support me throughout the weekend. Even strangers that I've met have shown their kindness and empathy to everything that happened to me during San Diego Comic Con. For any indie writer who wants their work to get visibility, especially if this is work about fandom, especially if it's work about fandom culture, it's understandable to want to be seen, to want to meet readers, and to have the opportunity ripped from you at the very last minute is devastating and torturous. However, like Taylor Swift once said, I can do it with a broken heart. And I did. And I decided to, you know what? For Comic Con, I'm just going to spread sparkle and shine because best believe I'm still bejeweled. And I ended up just kind of turning lemons into lemonade and then making a lemonade stand on Sunday. I had a great time meeting other Swifties who noticed my Evermore cosplay. Great times. Also, people wanting to see my Bridgerton cosplay when I mentioned that I cosplayed from Bridgerton. I met an artist by the name of Martin that I'm now following who does like Bridgerton characters in the style of cats, and I need to find for frames to post them in. But even though this could have been the worst con I've ever attended based on how I was treated, but I'm at Comic Con. Friends reminded me like you have a lot of opportunity to network. You have like a lot of opportunity to meet people within fandom. So that's when I went back to my suitcase, got my bookmarks, got my friendship bracelets, and just decided to spend and share sparkle around San Diego Comic Con. Of course, I had to just kind of do my walk around Comic Cons. Luckily, I had my phone with me. I had Spotify set to Bad Blood, Kingdom, Cody Rhodes' anthem anytime I walked at con. And you know what? I, I, I really have no words cannot describe how much friends that I have known for 20 years, 10 years, friends that I just made at Comic Con just really came through for me. And after Comic Con, I had a post Comic Con sale to share all my stock. And guess what? We're down to 5 more books to sell. And if we could sell those by Wednesday, that would be awesome. So if you're interested in my book, if you're listening to this right now, link in the description. You could still order from Amazon. I'm more than happy to sign a copy of your book if you ever see me at a convention you're at. I mainly do West Coast conventions, but I'm just so amazed with just so much love and support all of you guys have been, because y'all the real ones. And as an indie author, this really means a lot. The book community, the weebs, the cosplayers, all of y'all have just been so kind to me. And I just hope that this is just a part of my journey, that things will get better and look up from here, and more opportunities will come my way from people who actually care about my success. And with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to um, this edition of Convention Tea. It's really hard not to get emotional after thinking about how everyone just came out for their support. But I'm very thankful for all of y'all for just being kind and to continue to spread kindness, because we live in a world where it's people think it's so punk, it's so hip to tear each other down and to throw people under the bus, because we shouldn't be living like that. We should just be supporting one another. We should be helping people out. And all of y'all really showed yourselves, and I appreciate all of you. And with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Convention Tea. Love having you guys here. Love having company here as I talk about my convention experience. Our next convention, good question. Even my buddy Albert was asking me, like, yeah, when's your next convention? Good question. We're on the wait list for Long Beach Comic Con when it comes to we're on the wait when it comes to panels. So Geki and I, his Final Fantasy panel's on the wait list. My panel on Y2K fandom and shopping at the Fabric District, those are on wait lists. Like, okay, we'll find out next week if they got in or not. Let's just see what happens. Also, the other thing is LA Comic Con. That's usually happening. We normally do that convention. And then with that said, we definitely are locked in for KumoriCon. That's up in Portland, Oregon. So those are the 3 cons that I see on the horizon. Things might change. I know there's a cup sleeve event that focuses on retro anime on April of next year in Anaheim. And let's just see what happens. And again, everyone, thank you so much for your support. Sometimes you don't need advice. Sometimes you just need the power of friendship to go forward. And all of y'all did that whole, like, I'm just trying to think of an anime, like, yeah, give all your power to Serenity, give all your power to Sailor Moon. And that's how all of y'all showed up, and I appreciate every one of you that has shown your support for me during, like, one of the toughest weekends I've had to endure. And with that said, why is my VTuber model going weird? Oh no, we're frozen. Okay, just think of it as the anime winky face. Wait, did we freeze? Oh no, we froze. But there you go. Oh yeah, Ramsey's got it right. We gave you the spirit to do the spirit bomb to take out Manji Boo. Okay, there you go. I'm not a Dragon Ball person, but I understand the context. All right, with that said, let's go to cons in our 50s together. Because this is me at the end of the day. I was just a skeleton who just wanted to have another dirty Shirley and sit in a hot tub. With that said, thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Convention Tea. And remember, the con is what you make of it. So make it a good one, and don't let anyone steal your sparkle, because best believe you are